Hello and good morning. My name is Kim Mackay. I am the Creative Media Production Programme Lead at Salisbury. Welcome this morning. I hope you're all well. I'd say unfortunately we can't do our normal open events this year, so we are putting on our presentations online for you. So I'm going to talk through the courses that we have available today within the Creative Media Production Department. And if you have any questions, we have a Q&A chat going down the side, so please put them in at any point during the chat, or you can wait to the end and I can answer them then for you. I can also provide my email at the end, so if you have any further questions afterwards, I can correspond with you there. So I'm just going to go through the presentation. So as I said, my name is Kim Mackay. I'm the course lead on the Salisbury campus. I'm just going to talk through the courses that we do have available. So these courses are actually available on 3 campuses, the Chippenham, Trowbridge and Salisbury campus. So we start with the Level 1 Art Design and Media, okay, and this is a 1-year course. We also have the Level 2 Creative Media Production and Technology, which is also a 1-year course, and then we have our Level 3 Diploma and Extended Diploma course, which is a 2-year course. So you do the Diploma in the first year of the Level 3 and then the Extended Diploma in the second year. To give you an idea of kind of qualifications that you need to be able to get onto this level of courses, the Level 3 course, we ask for a minimum of 4 GCSEs, grade 4 and above, with 2 of those being in your maths and English. Okay, so you have to have your maths and English at grade 4 to be able to get onto the Level 3 with 2 further qualifications at grade 4. For Level 2, we're probably asking for 4 grade 3, okay, so 4 GCSEs grade 3, and then Level 1, obviously, it's probably more to do with the interview and looking at what kind of qualifications you have got and interests. So the Art Design and Media is quite a combination, so predominantly more an art and design course with a small element of media, but obviously if you haven't got the qualifications to get onto the Level 2 or Level 3, this is a really good starting point in the college. We're really lucky in the college that we have this progression for students, regardless of what kind of qualifications they're coming in with. We can obviously progress. And I'm really fortunate I have lots of students now on the Extended Diploma getting ready to go on to university that actually started on a Level 1 course. So, you know, it doesn't always matter what your GCSEs are, that there's an option for you and the ability to be able to progress onto university if that's what you want to do. So the Level 2 course, I say, is a 1-year course as well. And this is more focused on media. There are kind of different disciplines within the Level 2. It's quite a broad course again. Lots of students that do the Level 2 course tend to progress on to TV and film as a discipline, the games development, art and design, graphics or music. So lots of students come with kind of mixed interests, if you like. We tend to focus on TV and film, games development, graphics, photography and audio within the creative media. So you're doing lots of kind of different skills. It's very broad, like I said, so lots of students may be wanting to come onto the Level 3 course, don't quite have the qualifications to get onto that, so may have to start on the Level 2. And I say it is really nice because it's very broad, you get to try out lots of different skills, then to be able to progress onto the Level 3. And as we said, Level 3 is a 2-year programme. And then in that, I say the diploma you do in the first year and then extended. So for me, you know, this is where the focus is on the TV and film production more than anything else. And on the next slide, I'm going to talk about kind of the skills that you'll get from these courses and the possible outcomes, whether it's career or university afterwards. So some of the skills that you'll be looking at with us: cinematography, video editing, special effects. We do a lot of discussion around genre, narrative and audiences. You know, that's the kind of crux of understanding, you know, what it is you're going to be producing to make it as best you can. We also look at YouTube Vimeo as well. Obviously, it's sort of a changing digital world, and obviously YouTube and Vimeo is huge within that. So making sure your productions, you know, are able to go into this format as well. And maybe that you're interested in this in a future career, looking into YouTube also. Wix, I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail later. This is where we put our digital portfolios, and I'll explain about, you know, digital portfolios and how we actually mark and assess your work. Social media, obviously we're looking, like we said, about YouTube, but also looking at how we use Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We do lots of kind of online social media marketing campaigns to get your skills up within these areas. Research is a key skill needed for any of the units that we're looking at, and also really important for your career within the industry. Ideas development comes hand in hand with research. Every project you work on, it's about you guys getting creative and coming up with those ideas. And then finally, script writing and animation. That is really just a few of the skills we're looking at, and there are much more above and beyond this. Our Ual Courses, which I will talk about in a bit more detail in a moment, we're really fortunate in these courses because actually they're very wide and broad, and they kind of almost allow us to allow students to focus on the skills that they're most interested in. So if a particular student is most interested in script writing and screenwriting, then we can obviously pick up that skill and push that further and develop it. If you're interested in animation, we can use that one if it's cinematography. So although we're looking at lots of broad range of skills, if there's something you're more interested in, and that's fine, we can kind of highlight that one and work on that one in a lot more detail with you. So some of the courses, where can they kind of take you? Well, obviously, if you're starting at the lower level courses, level 1, level 2, it's obviously the progression through the college that we would like to see. So progressing from level 1 onto a level 2, then level 2 to level 3. After level 3, where can it take you? Well, a lot of my students who do progress onto the level 3 afterwards do go on to university. That tends to be one of the options that most of them prefer to do, rather than going straight out and trying to get a job in the industry. So it could be looking into film and television production, online content creation, cinematography, editing, journalism, digital marketing, video technology, media studies, film studies, and social media management. And again, you know, lots of students go even wider than this. I think in the last few years, the online content creation, social media management are kind of the two newer areas that are becoming more and more popular. And, you know, every year you look at the jobs that are available and there's brand new jobs coming out that kind of didn't exist the year before. So, you know, our digital age that we're living in is moving extremely quickly, and the amount of jobs that are actually coming forward, you know, is tough to keep up with. You know, we are really fortunate. It is a digital wave, if you like, and it's a growing industry. So the amount of jobs out there are huge if you can kind of get your foot in the door, and hopefully with these courses and the skills you're going to get, that will help you be able to do that. So a little bit more information about UAL and our courses. Our UAL courses we started delivering 3-4 years ago now. This is our 4th year of delivering. We were previously BTEC courses, both of which are what we call vocational courses. A-levels, for example, we kind of call more of the academic courses focused on exams and more of the kind of theory, where our courses that we deliver are vocational based, so industry skills and getting the kind of practical skills up to what we'd expect if you're going to go and get a job. So as we said, we started UAL a couple of years ago now, and this is really talking about UAL's ethos, if you like. They have a massive emphasis on process as opposed to the end result, so it's not always about the final outcome, but the process and how you get there, the skills that you're developing, what you're learning, the experimentation you go through. And even if your end product, you know, isn't quite as good as you'd hoped, as long as you can evidence that process you've been through and your development in the skills that you've learned along the way, that is how you're going to achieve the really good grades. The next kind of little bit on the slide about content research, problem solving, planning, practical skills and evaluation is the actual logical production process that we go through all the time, regardless of kind of whatever project you're working on. We'll be going through each of those steps every time. So you can see on the kind of creative wheel we've got here, we spend a lot of time doing research. Okay, we then go into ideation, so that's you guys using your wonderful creative imaginations to come up with the idea of whatever the production may be, whether it's a script or an animation or a film or a documentary, whatever it might be, the creation stage. Then it's the developing, which is obviously then going into production and post-production. And then our final stage, which is always really important, is that revised stage, being able to actually evaluate and reflect on what you've learned to hopefully help and improve you on the next project and production. And then we constantly work in that production process, working through pre-production, the research, production, development stage, and then obviously post-production and evaluation. We do it on one project, we move on, we do the next project, we move on, and so hopefully within that you're building your skills every time. You know, the big highlight on that slide probably is the no exams. Okay, and that is the one benefit that we do have. Everything is based on coursework in your digital portfolios. There are no exams at the end, which I think is fantastic. And this is one of the reasons why we moved away from BTEC courses a few years ago, because BTEC started to bring in exams, and we found that really difficult to kind of teach you those practical skills. We want you out filming and out on location, editing, etc. And when you bring exams into the mix, it's then, you know, obviously we have to look more revision and looking at the theory, which doesn't really work for these kind of courses. So that's why we started, say, with UAL, which again have gone back to the no exams, I say, which is really beneficial on creative and vocational courses like ours. This slide is just showing you one of the structures for the qualification. So this is a level 3 qualification here, but actually the structure for both our level 1 and level 2 courses are pretty much the same as they are across all of our creative courses, whether it be an art and design course, a music production course, games development, or TV and film. UAL have, you know, exactly the same structure for all the courses. So for a 1-year course, or even just the first year of the extended, we always focus on 8 units. Okay, that's what we cover through the whole year. And the difference between sort of a BTEC course where you might be used to being given a grade for every unit that you're doing, and then obviously being averaged out at the end of the year, UAL work very differently. UAL very much wants students to be able to experiment, play, make mistakes, and learn from those mistakes. So their first units from 1 to 7, are just purely pass-fail units. There's no other grade awarded from them at all. And the reason for this, like I said, is so that you have this chance to be able to experiment and play and make mistakes without the pressure of worrying about, oh gosh, have I got a pass grade? Have I got a distinction grade? And obviously when you're averaging out grades, you need to be building those merits and distinctions at the beginning of the year to be able to get the kind of the higher grades at the end of the year. Obviously when students are coming straight from school, and it's very hard to expect that straight away. And we obviously want you to be able to build on those skills and feel relaxed about it. So it's wonderful that UAL just have these pass-fail units. So units 1 to 7, if you can see there, the units 1 and 2 are very kind of broad skills that we're looking at to start with. This is where we're looking at building in, just getting everyone used to kind of the software and the hardware that we're using, kind of the terminology that we're using as well. From there, we move into units 3 and 4, which tend to be more kind of theory-based units, and looking at professional practice. So again, understanding the industry that you're going into, that's really important. That what are the kind of jobs that are out there and available to you? What does it mean to work full-time or part-time or flexi? How do I become freelance? How do I run a small business? And we talk through all those kind of different options for you within the industry as well. Final units 5, 6, and 7, which are the final kind of ones of the pass-fail units, then become more specific. So we start with those very broad units where we're teaching you all the basic skills. We then obviously want you to put those basic skills into practice, and we start building up the projects within those 5, 6, and 7 units. And then the final unit, unit 8, is what we'd call our final major project unit. And this unit is where your actual end of year grade will come from. So we focus on the units 1 to 7 from September through to the February half term. And then when you come back from the February half term until the end of the summer, when you break up, we focus purely on just that one unit, unit 8. And so we spend the kind of last 3 months of term doing this because obviously your end of year grade will come from this. It's a huge unit which we want you to obviously do the best you can in. And then that unit will be awarded your pass, your merit, or your distinction grade. Depending on the level that of course you're working on, at a level 1 or level 2 qualification, you'll be given some guidance within that, usually a theme or a type of project that you can be doing. And then obviously for level 3 qualification, we actually open it up to the students, and it's entirely what you want it to be. So you can see that it says developing a creative media production project. So if you're someone who's interested in horror films, you can make a horror. If you love science fiction, make a sci-fi. If you want to make a documentary, if you want to do a screenplay, if you want to do photography, whatever it is, whatever the skill is you've learned over the year, you think where your strengths can lie and you want to show off those skills, that is what that project is about. It's almost like a big showcase really for you to be able to get your end of year grade with. I'm saying it's fantastic. And we love at the college, again, all of our courses work in the same way within our creative industry. So all students within our creative department from February onwards are all working on these individual projects ready for their end of year grade. And we're very fortunate in a usual year. And fingers crossed it may happen this year. We always have an end of year show which we put on at the college. We open up the college for the evening to all families and friends, and we showcase all of the student work again across all of the creative media departments, so you can share what you've been doing. So it's a really lovely end of the year that we can do that. Here's an example of some of my students' work over the last few years. These are the film posters that we put together to showcase the students' work from the end of the year. Example projects through the year and at the end of the year can be anything from script writing opening scenes to horror shorts, music videos, stop motion animation, dystopian dramas, looking into special effects, detective dramas, interviews, title sequences, virtual tours and hyperlapses. And again, social media marketing campaigns, and these are just to name but a few. We tend to change our courses almost nearly every year on the projects we're running. We like to be in keeping with kind of the market, and making sure the skills we're teaching you are in keeping with the industry. We also like to see what our student groups are like each year. If one student group is particularly interested in music, then obviously music videos might be a route we go down. If a particular year group really interested in documentaries, and that's something we can focus on. So we're very open with our courses and are happy to kind of change and adapt to suit the student groups that are actually coming in. So a big part of being a student on our courses within the creative media production is your student portfolio. And this is how we mark all of your work. We don't use any paper. You don't hand paper and formats, even if they're essays, etc. Everything is done on a website. We use a program called Wix, which is a free program, and you may have heard of it or even used it. And this is where all your work goes. And this is really successful for students. And the reason why we do this is to make sure that when you finish with us, you have an amazing portfolio to take forward with you, whether it is to go, for an interview for a job, whether it's to get into university. You have all your work in one place ready to go. You don't have to worry about saying, well, I've got something on YouTube here, or I've got, a script I've written here. It's all ready for you to go. You can give out your website to whoever it might be, and they can look at your body of work from there. And I say this is how we mark your work as well. So everything you do, you put onto your digital portfolio, and the lecturers will mark it. You can see here I've put some highlights from some of the students' portfolios from this year. So if you remember back to one of the first slides, I said that UAL are very much about the process that you're working on as much as the kind of the end result. So what we ask students to do really is document all the workshops that you're working through, whatever classes you're having, the theory behind it, whatever your assignment brief might be, it goes on. So you can see here we've got lots of production activities happening here. So when students are documenting their production that they're going through, they take a lot of behind the scenes footage as well. So stills and video to be able to evidence the work that they're doing. So you could talk about on this particular project I was the director, or I was a camera operator, we're on this location and this happened. So it's a really easy and visual way to reflect on and work through the process that you're doing. You can see here we've got some screen grabs from some of the editing they've done as well, to kind of show before and after techniques that they've been looking at as well. So the digital portfolio, I say, is really vital to you going forward in the future, but also for getting interviews after you finish with us. On our next slide, we love to do trips. Now this year, obviously, that's very different for us, and we aren't able to get out as much as we'd love to. And again, these are some of the highlights of the things that we normally get up to. We tend to always go to the Harry Potter studios in London. This is an excellent opportunity for students to kind of look behind the scenes, get the idea of what a huge kind of franchise film like Harry Potter can look like, and see the props and the sets that actually have been worked on, which is fantastic. We often take trips to London to go to the film museums, or the BFI, or to the London museums as well, and they're quite often really useful for students for their research purposes. We do BBC tours. Again, this could be in London, in Salisbury myself. We have contacts in Southampton at the studios there, and we quite often go into the gallery there whilst a live broadcast is going out, so you can see behind the scenes in a TV production, which is fantastic. Last year we were very fortunate, just before we went into lockdown actually in March, that we actually went on our first trip to Berlin, which was a really exciting opportunity for the students. Amazing city, lots of communication and media related activities that we got involved with. Likewise with probably the previous few years, we went to Euro Disney, to a really huge media conference that they hold there, where they have live guest speakers come from the industry talking about their experiences, again with Q&As, and you can talk on one-to-one with these professionals, again, which is an amazing experience. For us, trips are really important. It's getting you out of the classroom and accessing opportunities for you, really, with an educational kind of feel behind them, to help and support you. So unfortunately not this year at the moment, but if things change, hopefully we can get some more trips in. So what do we need from you? So to be a really good student on our creative media production courses, we want you to be organised. That is a key skill we're looking for. The industry that you're hoping to go into has very tight deadlines, and to be able to work to those tight deadlines, you need to be someone who is actually very organised. So getting you those skills in advance is really, really important. Good attendance. Students who attend well tend to then get the best results. They tend to come hand in hand, and that's a high expectation we have of all our students. Working well with others, this is really important, particularly as you progress onto the level 3 course, where we are really focused on the TV and film production. You can't tend to go into production on your own. You need a team around you. So being able to work well with others is really, really important. And again, going forward, as you go into industry, when you get jobs, it's about working with people and getting on with people and being able to communicate, and also understanding what your skills are and where you sit within a team as well. Being enthusiastic, always key, and good time management too. We expect students to turn up and be on time and work to deadlines and hand working on time as well. So yeah, if you're that kind of person, then you will be extremely successful on these courses. What can you expect from us? Well, at the college, we treat students like adults. You've left school and we're getting you prepared really for that big wide world out there and getting a job. So we treat you like an adult, and we're always here to help. No problem is ever too big, too small for us to support you with. We're always happy to see you. I like nothing more than engaging with students and talking to students about their projects. We encourage you all the time to be working on projects. I always say to my students, you don't have to wait for me to give you an assignment to go out and film. We're happy to lend equipment out to students to get you out there filming and editing as much as possible. So we're always really here to help you, motivate you, and make you successful. That's what we really, really want from you. We can and will make good ideas great. Okay, so come and talk to us about how we can make those ideas amazing for you. And we're always here to give you constructive and supportive feedback. And I think that's really, really key. And one of the kind of the huge points of UAL really is about learning from those mistakes. This is the time to make those mistakes ready to get those amazing jobs where you feel confident and proficient in what you're always doing. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I can see there's one in the chat already, then please feel free to pop them in now. If you'd like, I can also put my email address into the chat. So like I said, if you want to ask me anything afterwards, then you can. So I'm just going to go through the questions now. I've got a question here. I'm interested in photography. Are you able to tell me anything about the photography course? So photography kind of sits in a few different departments, really. We don't have a straightforward photography course. It's part of the art and design course. So art and design actually deliver quite a few disciplines within their department. So you join up to the art and design, but then you can kind of focus on fashion, you can focus on graphics, and you can focus on photography. So there's an element and a pathway there that you can do it through. If you're someone who isn't necessarily interested in the art side, because obviously you will have to get involved with art if you're doing it through the art pathway, but actually more interested in the kind of production side of things, whether it be moving image or stills, then we do focus on photography as well. So I think the skills we teach at the beginning of the course are very much actually based on stills cameras, because sometimes it's easier to base those initial skills on stills images than it is into the moving images. So we do focus on photography. But I think the key thing is obviously then working towards your Unit 8. So at the end of the year, when I talked about, finding out what you're good at and where your strengths are and your skills, that's where we'd emphasise that actually that's your photography project that can come forward there. Lots of my students at the moment are working through advertisement projects as well, where we focus on kind of lookbooks and galleries too. So like I said, we can almost tailor kind of projects to suit the students' needs. So photography, I say, it's that difficult one. It's not a standalone course. You have to decide whether you're somebody who's more interested in kind of the art design photography, or whether you're more interested in production, sort of the TV, video work, and then photography as well. Obviously, we do a lot of focus on social media and marketing and online content. So some people find that photography kind of sits better for them within that kind of area, rather than focusing on say, sketchbook and design elements. I hope that answers your question. If you want to ask me anything else about that, then please pop another question into the chat. Like I said, if not, you can always email me afterwards if you would like to ask anything else at all. Has anybody else got any other questions they would like to ask? If not, I'm just going to type my email address in now for you. And then I say, if you have anything to ask, I know what it's like. Sometimes you have these chats and you go, oh no, I haven't got anything to ask. And a few minutes later, when it's all over with, you go, oh, actually, I do have a question. I should have asked this. So like I said, please feel free to ask. Let me just check. I'll pop that in right. Okay, so I've put my email in there for you. So like I said, if you have any questions, and it could be straight after now if you want to, or if it's in a week's time or whatever, it doesn't matter. Please email me, and I say we can talk through any through those questions. It could be specific questions about content of the courses. It could be more about the qualifications, whatever it is. Then say please feel free to ask. I'll just hang on a few minutes just in case anyone pops a question in. No. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you all stay safe and well. And say if you do need anything at all, then please contact me. You can see on this final slide here, it says about applications are now open for next year, and you just need to apply online. So you just go onto the Wiltshire College website. You can find the creative media courses. Okay, so obviously remember the different levels. So the level 1 is the art, media and design course. The level 2 is creative media production, and then we have the level 3 creative media production. It'll also ask you which campus that you want to study on as well. So obviously this will be for the Salisbury campus if you want to apply. I would, even if you're not sure, it's really good to apply at this time, because obviously then we can do interviews as well. And again, unfortunately, They aren't going to be the same as a normal year where you come in and I get to see you and meet you and take you around and talk through, you know, what we deliver. It'd probably be online at the moment, but at least it gives you the ability to ask more questions on a personal level. So, you know, if you want to find out more as well, I say it's really worth applying online so we can have that interview. And I say it's really informal. It's more of a chat to make sure it's the right course for you, and I can find out a bit about you, and then you can go from there. You know, at that point you don't have to make any decisions. You haven't signed to say that you're enrolled on the course. It's just that, you know, if you it's about, you know, allowing you to have that place on the course if you want it come September, when you can make your decision. Okay, so please make sure you visit the website, I say, and find the online applications there. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and say if you need anything at all, then please email me. Thank you. Bye bye.